What's up, Ravens fans? Welcome into a live episode of For the Flock Rundown. And it has been an insane week. Last Monday, when we were talking to you guys, man, we were celebrating Max Crosby. We were a little emotional about all the free agent losses. And then the middle of the week got absolutely crazy. The Ravens backed out of the trade. I guess we'll start there. We're not going to talk about it for crazy long. But Noah, what's your thoughts on acquiring Crosby, losing Crosby, and then pivoting to where we did and just the whole situation?
Man, it was a whirlwind of emotions. I remember I was Friday night. I think I was at a church service, and all of a sudden my phone starts going off. And I saw my friend who I hadn't talked to in years call me, and I was like, "Man, why is he calling me?" And I remember he's a Ravens fan. I'm like, "Dude, we must have had some type of big move or something." And then I saw the Crosby notification. I was like, "Is this real?" Dude? Like, the Ravens are going all in, and Ryan, bro, we've been talking about this window. Like, I've been saying it like almost every week. I'm like, Ryan, like, let's be real. Lamar is a stud, but and he's probably the best dual threat quarterback in NFL history. Like, he's got so many records, and we got Derrick Henry. But let's be real. I mean, he's on the fight against time. How many more years do we have a Lamar where he's still like freaky special athletic? He's 29 right now. I think he'll still be a great quarterback into his 30s. He's getting better and better as a pocket passer, but like prime, right? With Lamar and Henry, to me, it's like the Ravens, you got to go all in for that prime window, that next 2 to 3 years to try to go all in and get a Super Bowl. And the Ravens finally did it. I mean, like, I know it came back due to the knee, but the Ravens finally did it. They've never given up a first-round pick in their franchise history. And then they not only give up one, but then 2 first-round picks. And I'm like, dude, the Ravens are breaking the mold, and they're doing exactly what I was saying I thought they would do, and what we kind of saw as the writing on the wall of, hey, let's go after this window, man. Let's go after, like, we had all these years in Lamar doing like special stuff, 2 MVPs, should have been 3 MVPs, getting top seeds in the playoffs and falling short. And it's like, dude, they're tired of that. Steve Bisciotti was open about it. Like, we're tired of it. They're tired of not having a pass rush, tired of quarterbacks sitting back there and baking cakes. Quarterbacks having their best games when they play us because they got so much time. We talked about 40-something-year-old Aaron Rodgers, buying time and throwing dimes down to DK Metcalf and like an embarrassing divisional game. Like, and the Ravens' answer was, we're going after an elite pass rusher. We're willing to pay. We're willing to give up draft picks. We're giving up 2 first-round picks. And then, boom. Just kidding. Fake news. Not fake news, but, we were on the high. And then all of a sudden you see that from the Raiders. They put out the statement. And, of course, the Ravens don't want to come out and bash the Raiders and be like, well, we don't like how transparent they were about it. We wish we would have saw these x-rays that, by the way, the Cowboys doctor had and was able to release to the Baltimore Ravens after the trade went through, but they didn't have access to it until after the trade went through because of HIPAA. You know what I mean? So the reports are concerns about long-term availability, long-term health due to the lack of cartilage in the knee, that it could be early stages of arthritis. It's just reports. We don't know for sure. It could have been so many different things on why this didn't go through. There's so much rumors and subjection out there. It's not a great look for the Ravens, but if there's one thing the Ravens don't like, it's like when their integrity is being questioned. And like Jeff Zrebeck was open about it, like, hey, man, we thought the Ravens weren't going to say anything. We'll kind of let it cool over. But he thinks that Steve Bisciotti kind of wanted him to address the media because of the integrity being questioned by the organization. And one of the reporters asked Eric DeCosta, they were like, do you think this will affect, future business with other franchises in the future? He goes, it hasn't stopped my phone from ringing. Like, it's still going off. And the reality is they've been working with agents and these other teams for years and know the type of class organization it is. Yes, it wasn't a great look, but it is what it is, man. The Ravens didn't like the physical. They didn't feel comfortable. And you're not just going to give up 2 first-round picks for someone who's not a long-term. Like, even if he would have recovered this year and been good for another year or two, like, you're not giving up 2 first-round picks for someone who's not, like, your pass rusher for the next 5 years. Like, they went, like, 2 first-round picks is unprecedented for the Baltimore Ravens. So, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent now, but, dude, I was fired up about the Crosby deal, but then at the same time, back in my mind, Ryan, I was bummed a little bit because I was like, bro, I don't get to pick in the first round. And you know, Ryan, we've been talking every week about the pass rusher situation, right? And I was very blunt, and I said, hey, if the Baltimore Ravens have to give up like high draft capital for Max Crosby, I said I would rather sign Trey Hendrickson in free agency with similar pass rush production and then still have my first round pick to grab somebody else. And so I kind of got what I wanted originally, which was Trey Hendrickson, plus you get this year's first round pick and next year's first round pick. And if we're being honest, based on numbers, based on production, Trey Hendrickson is a better pure pass rusher than Max Crosby. He has a better pass rush win rate. He has more sacks. However, Max Crosby is more of a complete player, one of the best players against the run. But, Ryan, we're not – dude, we need somebody who – we got dudes that can stop the run. We got Tavius Robinson. We got people that can put their nose in the dirt. But we needed somebody to get after the quarterback. And that's what Trey Hendrickson brings. He says he's fired up and ready to go. So, I don't know, man. I'm excited. What are your thoughts on Trey instead of Max?
Yeah, I'll start with the how I felt about the Max thing overall. I mean, obviously, initial reaction before we got Trey, my heart was ripped out. Like, I went live and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I had optimism that we were gonna get Trey because he was still available and everything. But like, man, for those, it wasn't that long. Was it even 12 hours? I don't think so. It was like at night to the morning. Might have been 12 hours. The whole thing.
Like, just kidding.
Yeah. So at first my heart's ripped out. I'm feeling terrible, man. I was so pumped. Like we talked about, we were on here celebrating for about 4 days. And I was excited. I was envisioning Max in the defense. Max is an unbelievable player. After it all played out,
pictures.
Yeah. After it played out, I think that everyone's so mad about this because the Ravens came out on top in this situation. Yeah. And they pivoted to Trey and they get their picks back. And all of a sudden, they're scumbags because of it. Right. If we would have just backed out of the trade and got our picks back, but not signed Trey or not signed Trey quickly, I don't know if you get the same reaction. You know what I mean? Because then everybody would be like, man, the Ravens got screwed. Like, this is not good. Like, you know what I mean? It's a negative.
Yeah. Especially after, like, you commit all that money, miss out in the first wave of free agency, can't sign anyone because you spent all your money on Max, and then you have to back out, then you don't have any money to spend on free agency.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I guess all the guys are gone.
It's clearly not what the plan was. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I think I'm taking EDC's word for it when it comes to, like, they didn't have, like you said earlier, they didn't have every ounce of information until Tuesday when they backed out. That's when Max was in the building. They looked at his knee. They compared it with other doctors that were unbiased, by the way. That's an important point, I think, is that they weren't just using their team doctors. If you just use the Ravens team doctors, everybody could question it, right? Like, oh, well, what? It's just them that said that? No, it was like 5 other doctors that looked at this.
And the Cowboys doctors weren't comfortable. They weren't comfortable with because they were reportedly interested in Max.
Yeah. No, I think they definitely looked into it and they definitely did research. So that's what I mean. You got up to 5 doctors with unbiased opinions that all said there's high risk here in a few years. Does it mean that Max isn't going to come back and ball this year or next year? He probably will, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're probably going to see Max Crosby look unbelievable and we're all going to be like, dang, I do kind of wish he was here. But
I think we're going to see Trey look good too, though.
Well, he will. I'll get there. I just I do think there'll be some, like, it'll be a little sad at first when we're seeing Max ball out, but the real test of this whole deal and, like, whether was the right move or not is probably in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like we need to see Max Crosby's career play out. If dude stays completely healthy and he's Max Crosby for the next 5 years, Ravens probably shouldn't have backed out of the trade. We won't know that for a long time. But then to get to your point, everyone's so mad because the Ravens pivoted so quickly to Trey Hendrickson, who has incredible production, like you mentioned earlier, from a pass rush standpoint, actually more production. I like Max Crosby as the player. I think he's more of a athletic freak game wrecker, but that's not to understate what Hendrickson brings, man, because this dude consistently gets pressure, consistently gets home, gets a sack like every game, had back-to-back 17 and a half sack seasons. Like Trey Hendrickson's an absolute beast and does nothing but produce. So like we needed a guy like that. We got a guy like that. Oh, and by the way, we get our 2 first-round picks back. Let's go, dude. That's that. I feel really good about it now. But it was a roller coaster. It was one of the most insane, especially like being a creator and being on here doing this. Like I couldn't have like imagined a crazier week, bro. Like it was just like, dude, we got Crosby. No, we didn't.
I know, man. By the way, what's up, Justin Lewis? But dude, I remember a few weeks ago we were talking about a pass rusher as like a dream. You know what I mean? We were kind of like, yeah, we loved like Trey Hendrickson, but like I remember I said Trey Hendrickson would be my top target, but it kind of almost felt in the back of your head like, man, someone else is going to overpay him. You know what I mean? Like it's not, we don't have a shot at this. He's like the top free agent on the market. And then like Jalen Phillips, same thing.
Why do you think he sat there?
Well, I think it was God's grace, man, that he got to come. Because we're lucky he was still there after the Max thing fell through. But I don't know. Maybe his market wasn't as hot as teams thought because of the age. You know, he's about to be 32, and you know he wants guaranteed money. And that's
he didn't get that. He got $60 million guaranteed.
That's a lot of guaranteed money. That's more than the Bengals have given him ever.
Yeah, right. I get that, but it's not even half the contract.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, a $60 million guaranteed is no joke, dude. I mean, that's long-term security. And he couldn't even get past a 1-year guarantee with the Bengals, dude.
Nah, well, they're cheap. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So he said that his family took it more personal than he did.
I can see that.
He also, it's reported that the Colts had a massive offer on the table. I think even more than the Ravens. But I think he wanted to get back on them Bengals, man. I think he gets to play them twice a year. And he said he wanted to play for a contender. Ravens have historically been a contender. And almost every year they're in the playoffs that Lamar has a full healthy season. So he said, man, I've had the honor of playing with Drew Brees, Joe Burrow. He said, now I get to go play with one of the best in the league in Lamar Jackson. And that's part of the reason why he said he wanted to sign. He said he wanted to prove the Ravens right for taking a bet on him at his age. And Eric DeCosta said a lot of these pass rushers, and some of which we've had here in Baltimore, have played well into their 30s. You can think of guys like Terrell Suggs. You can think of a guy like just this year got paid. Khalil Mack, man, he got paid what 17, 19, 18 million dollars, and he's 36. And Trey's 4 years younger than him.
Yeah. And less tread. Doesn't have as much tread. He didn't play a ton early in his career when he was in New Orleans. Like, he wasn't the every down pass rusher. Like, you know what I mean? So he has less tread on his tires.
Did you see that graphic with the amount of total snaps between Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson?
I did see it, but I don't know the numbers. Do you have it pulled up or no?
Yeah, I have it. Okay. So on my X account and my likes, it was from Garrett Ferguson. He put snap count mileage. Trey Hendrickson, age 31, played 72 games. Okay, compared to Crosby, 110 games. Defensive snaps for Hendrickson, 4,578 versus Crosby, 6,449. So Crosby's 29. Hey, Trey Hendrickson's 31. So there's only about a 2-year difference of age, but way more mileage on Max Crosby. Plus, he's had a surgery like almost every single year of his career. Like,
Right.
So I think Trey's body's probably in a better spot overall than Max.
Well, he was cleared in January too, he said. So
Yeah.
like Max just got off crutches last week. They're on completely different timetables. Trey Hendrickson's fully ready for OTAs. He's ready to go. Max was going to miss until the summer, and then we'll be probably ready for the season. I'm not trying to say like Max is in some bad shape or something. Like I'm sure he'll play this season and play well. But yes, I agree. Trey Hendrickson is healthier and has less tread. And I really think the Ravens came out on top in this situation. As much as I was excited and loved to have Max Crosby, we're in a good spot now, getting a really, really, really dominant pass rusher.
Yeah.
And getting 2 first-round picks back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you know who 2 guys I'd like to bring in talking about old man?
All right.
Old man, dude.
Yeah.
Still got
Calais.
Calais, my brother.
Yeah, I figured that.
I'd love to see Calais come back and get a ring.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know,
let's call Tony Jefferson and Calais Campbell. Let's get them back here.
Dude, let's do it, man. I don't understand how is it possible? I mean, did he have 5.5 sacks this last year, dude?
Let me see.
Hold on, man. Let's look.
Yeah, I stopped checking his
stats. Yeah, Campbell with the garbage Cardinals had 6.5 sacks last year. Listen, the year before that, 5 sacks. Year and a half before that, 6.5 sacks. Year before that, 5.5. He's good for 5-6 sacks every single year.
Yeah.
Dude just got the old man strength. Even if you bring him in,
it's his size too. Dude's just a disruptor.
Yeah, he's massive. He's 6'8". Like, he's got length, he's got power, and he's savvy. Like, he's smart. Like, even just his technique reading offensive linemen at this point, bro. But yeah, he's 39. I don't know if he wants to come back another year, but
yeah, I'd take it for depth. I don't think it would cost much at all. Like, this is not a big swing by any means. This is just like solid quality depth. Yeah. And good locker room presence, good leader.
You know the other guy, old man?
Yeah, who's that?
Cam Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Cam Jordan is 36. Similar position, I guess.
10.5 last year.
Yeah, 10.5 sacks last year on the garbage Saints. I mean, he's obviously in his prime, he was one of the best pass rushers in the league. He went through that stint where he had 13 sacks, 12 sacks, 15.5 sacks with the Saints in his prime there. But last year, 10.5, and is a good edge setter too. So
yeah, I think those are smart, like, vet additions that have basically no risk either, right? Like, what's the risk in that? Like, it's going to cost a couple million. It's not going to be
1 year.
Yeah, exactly. 1 year. And I mean a couple million against the cap. Maybe the number looks like 8 or something because they're like bigger. But, like, you know what I mean? Like a $3 million cap hit, not really moving the needle from a financial standpoint too much, and just very low risk with a lot of upside. Like at the minimum, you got a guy who has a ton of experience, and this is for Cam or Calais. You got guys with a ton of experience that will be able to lead at the minimum, right? Like, even if their production drops off a little bit and they're not playing as much, they're great options, and they're also going to help other guys in front of them too because of their experience. I'm all in on. I think the Ravens are going to have to start, unless we make a trade or something like that. I mean, there's not a lot of free agents to take massive swings on. So I feel like the Ravens are going to have to kind of fill out the rest of this roster in that type of way.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I saw someone in the comments. Coach Hall says Clowney and Campbell. I'd like to, between those three, Clowney, Calais Campbell, and Cam Jordan, all those dudes are still producing sacks and are disruptive. And they all are proven. And the first two, and Cam Jordan and Calais Campbell, are like Walter Payton Man of the Year type dudes, great leaders, great locker room dudes, and guys that are force multipliers as far as leadership and setting the tone. So I would love to see those dudes. They would also just provide some more juice with your pass rush, more depth on that defensive line. So
Yeah.
imagine Trey Hendrickson, Nnamdi Madubuike, Calais Campbell, Mike Green, Clowney, and Travis Jones on your front, dude.
And draft picks.
And draft picks.
Because we have 11 picks. We're drafting somebody. I mean, I know I would say our biggest holes right now are definitely still on the O-line, but we're going to add to all of this.
Yeah. I just want to build like trenches, dude.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there on defense looks a lot better than the offense. Let's before we dive into the other free agents, let's just recap real fast who we actually have brought in. So we know we lost pretty much everybody. The only guys that we re-signed were Chidobe Awuzie, which we've both been champion for a minute. So he came back for $5 million this season. Great
move.
Yes, great move. Cheeto's back. Love that. We also re-signed Huntley. And then the new free agents that we brought in, Trey Hendrickson, obviously we just talked about. John Simpson, who's getting starter money. I know this cap hit in year one's low, but it's a 3-year, $30 million deal. His cap hit next year is like $11.5 million.
Yeah.
It seems
like the way he sets the tone. They said they like the energy he plays with.
Right, but would you like, are you comfortable saying right now, and I know it's super early, are you comfortable saying that they project him to be the starter at left guard?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too.
No doubt, dude. There's no way they were paying him that much to be a depth guy.
That's exact. Okay,
he's only 28.
We totally agree on that. I'm not like, I don't think it like 1000% answers everything, but I also do think they got John Simpson at left guard there. And then one signing I'm super excited about, Jalen Hawkins.
I am too.
Coming in as the third safety, versatile, free safety, played a lot of free safety in New England, played special teams as well. But dude goes up and gets it, ball hawk, 4 interceptions. Also not afraid to throw his body around too. I was watching highlights and he was coming down hitting dudes. So, I mean, I think that we lost a little bit of that with Gilman. Gilman's smart player. But wasn't quite tossing his body around the way like I've seen Hawkins or even Ardarius Washington, who we lost. Like those guys fly around, bro. And I'm pumped about Hawkins. What's your thoughts on Jalen?
Hawkins to me is an absolute steal, dude. Like the fact that we got him for only 2-year, $10 million is insane. Because I mean, he was a starter like for the Patriots. The 5th overall graded safety, according to PFF, with 4 picks. I mean, he had the best year of his career last year. He played 682 snaps. He's versatile. 270 of those snaps was as a box safety. And then he had 118 snaps in the slot. So, I mean, super versatile. He's going to be a guy that's on the field. He's going to be a starter, I think, similar to Alohi Gilman. He basically replaces Alohi, but he adds more ball production, like more playmaking ability. He's got 4 picks, rangy, assignment sound, and he's physical. Like, I think that's a home run signing there from Eric DaCosta. 2 years, 2 years, 10. That'll be kind of like, to me, probably the same as the Chidobe signing was last year. Like we got Adobe for a few mil last year.
It was the minimum. I think it was like 1.5.
Yeah, it was like a steal. And he was like literally like a top 15, top 20 corner before he got hurt at the end of the season. Like he was playing really, really good football. Like covering dudes and making plays on the football. So and then he gets Chidobe got rewarded. He gets more money this year.
And well deserved. I don't think $5 million is like a bad number either. You know what I mean? Like I am so happy we brought him back. Love the Jalen signing. And then the only other signing that we made, well, we did sign Jovan Gwynn, who's a guard center from he's not on this list because his cap number is not out yet, but we signed him from Atlanta. He's only played 11 or 12 snaps in his career. So in my mind, that's a Dwayne Ledford like hidden gem developmental signing potentially. Like I'm not slotting him in to be in the equation to start or anything right now, but I definitely, there's no way we didn't sign him without Dwayne Ledford being like, hey, this guy's got something, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the other signing. And then Durham Smythe from Chicago, who was just recently with Doyle, and he played a hybrid like fullback tight end role. They don't really have a traditional fullback, but he was moved all around. And I think that he probably comes in to help replace Charlie Kohler, Pat Ricard, and we're just not. Eric DeCosta said himself, we are phasing out of using a fullback. We are going to tight ends, and if we need to have a tight end in a fullback position, traditionally we'll do that. But like that's probably Smythe's role. What's your thoughts on that signing?
I don't know. To me, it's not like significant, needle mover. I'd have rather seen the Ravens sign like David Njoku or another pass catching tight end. But the thing is there's like no risk to it. It's a few $1 million, and he obviously Doyle liked him, and he's a solid blocker. We need guys that can block for Derrick Henry and Lamar and Justice Hill. We need to keep that run game strong,
Yeah.
I do like the idea of Patrick Ricard and Derrick Henry coming downhill, regardless of who the offensive coordinator is. But man, Ricard had a heck of a career here in Baltimore. And he was getting older and starting to deal with some injuries. So I understand. Plus he got paid with New York. So, I think the Ravens, I was interested in still some of the tight ends out there in the free agent market, specifically David Njoku, but it's reported, man, that the tight end class this year in the draft is really, really deep.
I heard that
too. Get guys all throughout the round, so they're probably going to draft a tight end or two, and so signing another free agent pretty much guarantees like one of your draft picks ain't going to make the roster. So they're probably going to leave that spot there open for the draft because they like the draft.
That's kind of where my head's been too recently, is like looking at how deep. Honestly, there's a lot of center value in the middle rounds, like rounds 2 to 4. I think the Ravens find their center, honestly. And there's probably not going to be any centers that go in round 1. So this isn't a Linderbaum situation. It is different than that because Linderbaum was the consensus number 1 guy. It was like, here's your decade plus center, which panned out. I mean, it is true. And we took a first round. We used high draft capital to get him. This is a little different. I don't think that there's a center as obvious as that, but there's a lot of solid prospects between rounds 2 and 4 as there are tight ends. So you're looking at the draft and you're like, where's the strength here in the middle rounds, which is where you get all your value anyway. And it is centers and tight ends. I think there's a ton of options, which the Ravens clearly need both of those. I don't know. I want to get your thoughts on this too, though. Like we talked before when we lost Linderbaum, and I was painting a picture for a couple of weeks at like my concern if we lost Linderbaum to have a hole in the middle there. We got John Simpson at left guard.
Okay.
No one at center right now besides Corey Bullock. Obviously, maybe could go shopping again in free agency and get a Cushenberry and draft. I think we're definitely drafting. I'd be shocked if we didn't draft a center at all. You know what I mean? So I think it's pretty safe to say we'll get someone in the draft. But right now, no one at center besides potentially a rookie. Right guard, Emory Jones Jr. and or rookie. Is there any concern there that we're going really, really cheap and young again and just relying on Dwayne Ledford and these coaches to get them in the right spots? It is incomplete. We're still only a week into free agency here. The Ravens could sign a starting center tomorrow or a guard, or they could go get Teller. So, you know what I mean? Like they could throw a wrinkle in this. But as we sit right now, the plan to me looks like we're drafting guard, center, and we're going young again. Is that what you think? Or do you? Yeah. Okay.
I think you're right, Ryan.
So it's risky, man.
It's risky business.
Yeah. Like we're over here having crazy O-line problems for 2 seasons in a row now. And we do the same formula. Different guys, same formula.
Yeah. It's risky yet exciting.
Because it really could work out, but man, it's like
could
hard
work
to
out
say
or
it's
it could
going
go
to.
really, really wrong. So yeah, I think you're right, Ryan. I think the plan is within those top 4 rounds, you draft a center and a guard, and then that center will battle with Bullock for the starting center spot and let the best man win. And then the other guard that you draft within those top 4 rounds will battle with Emory Jones for right guard.
Yeah.
So at least there's going to be two talented guys you like battling for right guard, because we like Emory at right guard. We're excited about him, but it's unknown.
Yeah, I
But
want him to
but
battle.
if
I'm
yeah,
not. I don't want to just give it to him.
yeah.
Like,
But if he's battling with like a second round pick or a first round pick, and like, you know, if we get Vega, or in the second round if we get Chase Basantis, or
what do you think about Venga at 14? If we did go Venga, or like I've been seeing some other people toss out like Fanu or some Fano, like the tackles that we could put in different positions.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's still? I guess it's always an option, but like I think they might know if they could get Venga at 14. Like I don't know if he's going higher than that. Maybe he could. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like they could be comfortable in that. Would it then eliminate instantly? There's no way you don't start the 14th pick. So like, would it instantly just bench Simpson or Jones?
No, well, here's the thing: is Simpson, like, he's not the forever answer. So even if Simpson started for a year and Emory had another year on the bench, like, you'd still have two really exciting guards for the next
Just keep developing the younger guys.
4 or
Start
5
Simpson.
years.
Start the top pick.
How much of Simpson's deal is guaranteed?
I looked at it today. I'll pull it right back up 1 second.
Because if it's basically, because it was a 3-year deal, but if it's really a 1-year guarantee with 2 years after,
I think we can't get out of it until after 27. Okay. But I got the numbers right here. So John Simpson. Yeah. So cap hit 11.5 with 12.5 dead cap in 27. So we're not cutting him. So the potential out's 28 for sure.
Yeah. So
he's
they
here
see him
for
as
2 years.
2-year starter. So he'll be turning 29 and 30 second year. Emory Jones still has 3 years left on this deal. And then if you get somebody in the first round, you could possibly have him for the next 5 years. So regardless, dude, I don't think it stops them from going offensive line in the first round. If one of the
it shouldn't. I was just like, when I was like racking my head around it all, I was like, man, to me, it like almost seems likely that they could just easily go receiver or like edge at 14 and not and continue to not really invest high capital or high money into the O-line, because it's just it's a common trend here. I mean,
here's the thing, Ryan. It's like they're pretty much trying to position themselves to where whatever position they don't go in the first round, they're not hung out to dry.
Yeah.
But whatever position you don't go in the first round, it kind of seems like, that position seems a little weak.
Right.
Whatever. Yeah. So, like, if they go receiver first round, they don't touch offensive line, you're thinking, okay, I Simpson, and then a battle between. But if they do go offensive line in the first round, then that position looks really strong. And then you have multiple guys fighting for spots. And then the receiver room looks a little like, well, I guess it's not terrible, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And then we draft edge or receiver in second round, and then one's getting neglected regardless. Yeah.
One of them's going to feel a little light, and the other one's going to feel like, oh, this position's set.
Yeah. Am I crazy to say that most of your, like, the least position group you should take a risk on, though, is O-line?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the one you shore up, bro. Like, we've been literally letting it ruin our offense for years now.
Yeah. To me, it's build those trenches. But at the same time, Ryan, if I'm like, if Carnell Stinking Tate is at 14,
take him. Or
Jeremiah Love falls to 14, or Ruben Bain falls to 14, it's like, you don't pass up on those dudes, because so, or, Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles, like one of these top 5 type of linebacker prospects, like one of the blue chip guys fall to you at 14, you pull the trigger regardless.
Somebody's falling. We've said this before. Some good pass rusher or lineman,
Yeah.
will fall, or receiver.
Or receiver.
Like will be there at 14. There is no doubt. Like we've done mock drafts. Like you can see how the board falls. Obviously, the mock drafts aren't exactly accurate to how it's going to go. But like my point is, there's too big of a group there for no one to fall. You know what I mean? Like someone's going to be there at 14. I just hope. I hope that we can build enough. That's why I still want a few more free agents, because I don't feel, and it is early. We still have over a month here, 5 weeks away from the draft. I'll feel a lot better if we can add 2 to 3 more guys at those positions in free agency. They don't even have to be massive contracts. Like I'm not saying you have to take the biggest swing of all time. You don't have to trade your first round pick. They obviously showed they're willing to do that. So I wouldn't rule a trade out at any point, but at this point, we're not swimming in cap space anymore. You know, we're at our high 20s. So, and the Lamar extension thing still sitting out there. So, I mean, the Ravens have less flexibility than they did, but they still have some flexibility. I just think that they need to add something before the draft, because the O-line scaring me, bro.
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing, can you throw up Incog, Negro Gaming up
Kenyon?
on? Yeah, I'm seeing so many people say Kenyon, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, Ryan, because I got some thoughts on it, but first I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I think this tight end class is extremely deep, and we can find. I'd rather like grab a Eli Stowers in like the second or something, and draft depth guys like we've done with even Andrews, bro. Andrews 3rd round pick, Charlie Kohler 4th round pick, Isaiah Likely 4th round pick. The Ravens can draft tight ends, and I like Sadiq. I think he's a great player. He's going to be an asset. He's going to be a weapon. He's fast. Like he's good, man. He's really good. I would rather go O-line, edge, or receiver at 14 over tight end, because I trust that we can draft a tight end. I do not trust that we can draft a wide receiver after round 2. We don't take many swings in round 2, so that's why I'm saying that. I think there's a lot of quality in round 2 here. We usually don't draft a receiver in round 2, but if we're going to draft a position, I'd like an edge or receiver in round 1 or 2 over tight end, because I think it's so deep. But that's just how I feel.
I 100% agree, Ryan. Just wanted to hear your thoughts too. And the other thing for me is I have to look at Kenyon more, but I'm kind of scared by some of the hyper athletic tight ends in the past, like the OJ Howards and the Kyle Pitts, and we swung in the first round at with Hayden Hurst, and an athletic dude. There's a lot of these guys, these tight ends that were drafted in the first round that I can think of, just a couple off the top of my head, that were like super athletic, like athletic freaks that didn't quite pan out. Noah Fant was another one who was drafted in the first round, who ran like a really fast 40. And to me, I'd rather go receiver, offensive line, edge, over a guy like Sadiq. But at the same time, if the Ravens really fall in love with Sadiq, and they're really obviously really talented at scouting tight ends, he is an athletic beast, and Lamar loves his tight ends. So the idea of having like a hyper athletic weapon like Sadiq paired up with Flowers, Andrews, and Henry would be exciting. But with how deep the tight end class is.
Yeah, Eli Stowers is a freak athletically too. So is Trigg. Like I feel like there's like a bunch of these guys, maybe not quite there, but like there's a bunch of athletic freaks that, and who knows what the Declan Doyle offense exactly looks like. Like I no one truly knows. We've never seen it. So I don't know if it'll be. I know we'll use tight ends, but I'm saying, will they be targeted a lot? Like that might not be the case. Like we might have more script plays for Bateman. Like we might have more plays for Tez or whatever other receiver we get. Like just because the volume has been shifted towards tight ends for a while now, I don't think we can use that sample size. We have a whole new coaching staff with new vision here. So I don't know. I'm not drafting a tight end in at 14. Regardless of who it is, to be honest. I think we need way more positions of help that Yeah, I can't do that, man. We
Yeah.
gotta, and if we did do that, we would need to swing again in free agency. I don't think this team's ready enough to just like take a tight end at 14. That 14 spot needs to be premier. Whether that's premier offensive line, premier defensive line, it needs to be a guy like a freak.
Yeah, I agree. The other idea is if the Ravens wanted to trade back at 14, I wouldn't hate that either.
I wouldn't either. I think you could get Vanga a little bit further back. I could be totally wrong. I'm not disrespecting him. I love him. I think he's a generational guard. I just think who's to say that he wouldn't be there at 18 or 20 and you trade back with somebody and you get an extra second or third round pick. I don't think that's a bad move at all. I think the Ravens, especially depending on what they do in free agency here, they're going to have to take some swings.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, there's other guys too that I would like at 14. Some of the other receivers like Denzel Boston, Jordan Tyson could fall. There's some good corners that could fall. There's some good offensive linemen that could fall. Omar Cooper, Keem Messidor is a pass rusher. Just to throw out a couple of names out there that guys that could still grab if you were to trade back a few spots and possibly pick up another second round pick.
Yeah. I think Boston and Cooper and stuff definitely be there in the 20s. I mean, like if you trade back like that, I think you can grab those guys. Dre's asking about Jordan Tyson. I think outside of the injury history, he's impressive. Everything I've seen from Jordan Tyson's like exciting, man. Yeah. I think this guy can go up and get the ball. He can run routes. He's a competitor. He's just had a lot of injuries. I think that's the only reason he's not talked about as like the top guy, man. When you watch him, he looks incredible.
Yeah, it's a guy that could turn out to be like an elite receiver, but could also turn out to be like Rashad Bateman or Denzel Perryman. Or I'm sorry, not Denzel. Rashad Perryman.
Rashad Perryman, jeez. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was a rough one, yeah. I think he's way more athletic. Bro, when we drafted Rashad, this is going back a little bit, but I always saw him as like just a straight line runner. Like I knew he had a lot of speed, but he reminded me of like just like a guy who's like a track speed straight. Like he couldn't run every route. He didn't have the wiggle. He didn't go up and get it aggressively. He didn't have the competitive fire. Like I see a lot of that in Jordan Tyson. I don't see a straight line runner. I see an all around receiver. If healthy, though, you know what I mean? This guy has struggled with a lot of injuries early, and you just never know how that pans out. But I would be very excited about Tyson, man.
I'm just like scared by receivers with injury history,
Oh yeah. That's a fair point. That's a fair. Well, the crazy thing, Bateman didn't have it before us, right? I think Bateman was all the way healthy through college until like training camp before the season. It was us. He kept getting hurt with our team, not before. So that one's a hard thing to project. You know what I mean?
And the Ravens replaced their strength and conditioning coach because
and it got better. It did get better. We got a super chat from Nikes. Appreciate you, man. As the draft gets closer, bet money the Raiders call back and take lesser picks for Crosby. This is an interesting dynamic because I don't think that's off the table. I don't know if the Ravens would be the team, though, anymore. I don't know if there's enough bad blood there or not.
No, the Ravens it's not happening with the Ravens.
Exactly. Yeah. So it would be right. But I think that's what this super chat's saying, right? Like the Raiders call back and take lesser picks. But I don't think the Ravens are going to do it anymore. I think that's just like done because they looked at the medicals. Like it would have to be dirt cheap, right? Like for the Ravens to say, yeah. So, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does end up getting traded though. Same with like AJ Brown. Like I think there could be some heat right around draft night. There always is. You know what I mean? There's always a team that's like dying to get their hands on a first or something, and they'll trade a big guy on draft night. So I wouldn't be surprised here, but
what did the Bills give up for DJ Moore? Do you remember?
What was that exact trade? I can get in here.
I think they gave up,
I believe. Second. Yep. 2026. And they get Chicago's 5th. They gave up their later pick and a second round pick. It's basically a second. Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
Which is not that cheap, I don't think. Like, I mean, and they paid him and they gave him they revised his contract to be like basically all guaranteed money. So like they rewarded DJ Moore with this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're like, you're our
Hey,
guy, we're paying you, and we gave up a second. It's not a bad trade, but it's also not dirt cheap either. I think that's probably like fair value.
yeah. I think the Bills are a legit like these moves. Some of these moves they've made are really good moves.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
see.
like DJ Moore to me, I'd love to have DJ Moore for a second round pick.
I know.
Um,
Yeah. When you
like
like look at it, it's like, yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, he's a weapon, dude. He's a weapon. Um, so I mean, part of the reason I haven't been that scared of the Bills over the last few years, even though they have beat us, is their weaponry for Josh Allen. Like none of the receivers have scared you.
Yeah.
But DJ Moore is a legit target that you have to worry about. And then you got Shakir going off of him, James Cook going off of him. So they got some weapons for sure. And then Bradley Chubb was a good signing too because he's starting to get fully healthy again. And I think it was a similar situation to Chidobe. Chidobe was looked at as like one of the best corners in the league. Got hurt in the middle of the season, and the next year came back, wasn't fully healthy yet, didn't play well, and then the Ravens got him the year after that. Whenever he was fully recovered, he had a great season. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that they're having a good offseason. Seeing a lot of people in here talk about Davante Adams. I guess there has been some buzz on X today about the Ravens like reaching out. It came from like an NFL rumor account though, so I always like take those with a grain of salt. I looked into the number though, just because you always got to look at the number. You can't just like be like, oh, we're trading for this guy. $28 million cap hit this season. So if we did trade for him, it would have to come with an extension of some sort. Doesn't have to be long term, but there's no way we're paying 28 million. We don't even, that's about all we have, period, right now. So like I just don't think that number's realistic at all. You'd have to sign him, and he's 34. But saying all that, I'd love to have Davante Adams. Just financially doesn't make a lot of sense. But what do you think about Adams, and what do you think we would actually have to give up?
Not a fan of Adams just because he doesn't play full seasons anymore.
Yeah, he's 34.
Yeah, I mean, let's look the last few years, dude. He hasn't finished a season, and I think that's the reason why he's available, because the Rams don't trust him as their wide receiver too anymore.
Yeah, they've been reaching out about AJ Brown too, so it sounds like they've been trying to kind of unload Adams and acquire AJ.
Yeah,
which is an aggressive move, and I get it.
Yeah, I mean he's been productive. But I just want to see how many games he started the last few seasons. Let's see here. Okay, so 2024 played 14 games. 2025 played 14 games. Okay, so not terrible. 14 out of 18. Or I guess 17 with the bye.
I think he could come in and have a great role. What's it cost, and how do you fit the number under there? That's my only question with this trade rumor is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you'd have to give up much more than a mid-round pick, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Taking on a 34-year-old receiver that has a $28 million cap hit, it is not going to cost much. It might be like a fifth or sixth. They might just be unloading. You know what I mean?
We'll just swap Marlon for Davante.
Draft a corner. Yeah. Hey, there'll be a corner there at 14 too. If we did make a Marlon decision, that's not a bad pivot to use Marlon in some kind of trade bait, clear cap, and draft a corner then to usher in a new era. I'm not against that. I think Davante is interesting. I just the number is like
Davante had crazy amount of touchdowns last year. Really over the last 2 seasons. He had 8 touchdowns in 2024, then he had 14 touchdowns last year. 1,000 yards and then 789 yards. So he's still a great red zone threat, great route runner, great third down dude. He would be interesting. But like you said, the salary cap, they have to make something work.
They would because we don't have that freedom right now. And a lot of reason is because of Marlon and Roquan and we cleared a lot of money with Lamar's restructure, $40 million there, but we didn't restructure Roquan, we didn't restructure Marlon, we paid them their bonuses yesterday actually. So like the Ravens are rewarding them in it from a contract standpoint.
Dude, I want to see the Ravens bring in Debo.
Dude.
I want Debo, dude.
I like that.
I want to see if we can get Debo on like a 2-year 30.
Do you think he still commands 15? I know they're saying that, but I mean, I guess, the other receivers are getting paid. That's the problem with the receiver market to me is like, even the other guys are like very high inflated prices here. Like, I love Juwan Jennings, but 22 million ain't happening. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not happening.
I'm not a big fan of Juwan Jennings.
Well, not for that price, but I'm just saying I wouldn't mind adding him as a depth option, but Debo makes a ton of sense. I agree. So you'd pay 15 per and just maybe have an out? Like,
yeah, I would do like a 2-year 30 and have the first year be guaranteed.
I mean, we can afford that. The first year, if we could lower the cap hit would probably be with a signing bonus would be lower than
maybe like
15,
8 or 10 or
exactly. Like yeah, I think we could afford that. We could do that
because he's been pretty durable. The last 3 seasons, he's played 15 games, 16 games. This last year, he had 727 yards, 5 touchdowns. But he's really good after the catch. He's physical. He's got Super Bowl experience. He's about to be 30, right? What's his age?
Yeah, he is 30. He is 30. He's 30 right now. Yeah.
So to me, I wouldn't sign him on like a long-term massive deal, but for another year, he brings another physical element. Like that's kind of what we're missing out of our receiver room right now.
Yeah, is like it's some guy you could give the ball to and let him freaking run over a couple guys, or go up and grab it over Bolden, Anquan Bolden, bro.
Yeah, or even like Steve Smith Sr. wasn't big, but he was just a dog. Like he was just physical.
I pulled up Mike Evans' cap hit real quick, just for reference. Look at these. Look at this deal he just signed. $4 million cap hit, $7 million cap hit, $9 million cap. Oh, they voided the whole contract. Okay. I see here. I'm like, bro, why is that? Like, we could structure a deal like that for anyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Have been doing, and it worked out for them.
Yeah, it's aggressive, but I'm like looking at this and I'm like, Mike Evans didn't even get that big of a contract. Why are these other guys getting 20+ million when he's
That's what we did with Odell, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. And it backfired though. Yeah. That one didn't pan out.
No.
I loved having him here. It was exciting, but from like a risk financial standpoint, it didn't work.
Yeah. But it still wasn't that bad. Like it wasn't like these massive repercussions. Like
that makes me think we could get these guys are going to go for cheaper though. Debo's going for cheaper than 16 million probably if Mike Evans just signed that. I know he's a couple years younger, but he ain't Mike Evans. Mike Evans gets 1,000 every year guaranteed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's
I just think Debo would be such a good like over the middle of the field target, like finds space well. He can run after the catch and he's physical. And we already have that physical element with Derrick Henry in the backfield, but I'd like to see it added to the wide receiver position because like we love Bateman's a good route runner. He can get open and get deep separation and but he's not a physical receiver. He's not known to stiff arm dudes to break tackles. He's more of a shifty guy. Zay Flowers is not like he's good he's physical for his size and he's a great separator and stuff, but he's not known to be like a physical tone setter. Debo's just nasty.
100%. Imagine having like your dominant run game with Derrick Henry. You're super physical with every team, and then also when you throw the ball to a Debo, you're like, geez, man, now our corners got to deal with this guy too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
make him tackle. Like
wear him out, man. Yeah, physical offense. You know that all starts with a dominant O-line though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Ryan. We signed Debo. Okay. Then we got Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Tez Walker working at our receiver position. Then whoever, maybe we get somebody in the second or third round, right? And then we got we grab Vega in the first round or Fano in the first round. We just build a trench up front.
Smart.
You know what I mean? Like
Smart.
then our offense is cooking.
Yeah, I mean, that's the route. At some point, we got to invest in the O-line, but I also would not be mad at all towards Debo at all, bro. I think and then tight ends, I know we were talking earlier about probably heading towards the draft just because it's so deep and we already signed Durham Smythe. I think we could potentially grab another tight end free agent. I don't know if we're going to I wanted David Njoku as well. I don't know if we're going to swing that big. Not that it's a huge swing, but like he's the most expensive tight end out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that we could grab one of these vet tight ends and have like 4? Because we're definitely drafting one. Let's be real. Like we're definitely drafting one, even to usher out Mark in a few years. You need to bring in that next nucleus, right? And we always have done that. So it's not even like a far-fetched idea to say that we're going to draft a tight end or 2. Do we just draft and build out the room that way, or do we get a vet and draft?
I think we're just going to draft.
I'm leaning that way now too.
Because like Smythe and Mark is a good baseline. And you could probably draft. We got 11 draft picks, right?
Yeah.
So you could probably draft 2, especially with how deep it is.
Yep.
Or maybe even you like some undrafted guys, and then let those guys battle it out. But if we're not carrying a fullback, we could carry 4 tight ends, like you said, if we want to, settle the roster that way, without Ricard. But Njoku and Mark as your top 2 would definitely be really exciting.
Yeah.
And then you could have Smythe and a rookie battle it out for number 3 spot, and then maybe another rookie or I guess if you draft, if you drafted somebody and signed Njoku, that would be your 4.
Yeah.
So,
hey man, I think that works.
yeah,
I think that does work. I see a lot of I'm trying to pull up. Oh, here it is. See a lot of people saying bring D-Hop back. I just want to, and it's been buzzing today because I know he posted something earlier on X and then deleted it. His contract voided on March 2nd, and we are eating $3 million because of it in dead cap money this year. So did Tylan Wallace, and we are eating $744,000 this year. So we're paying $3.7 million to not have D-Hop and Tylan on the team. If they would have got an extension done before March 2nd, we could have spread that dead money out and kept them. So I've been seeing a ton of people talk about D-Hop, but I also just feel like the Ravens would have extended him before March 2nd. That was only 2 weeks ago. Like, why would you let the contract void and create $3 million in dead money on your cap this year and then also pay to bring him back?
Maybe they thought their market was going to be bigger than what it was. Maybe their agents were like, nah, like we'll wait till we hit free agency. You know what I mean? But I don't know, because Tylan hasn't gotten signed yet. Neither is D-Hop, but I'd be interested in bringing Tylan back on a vet min
which is even like low 1.3 or something.
Yeah, even though
see, that doesn't. But the 700,000 is not as big of a deal as 3 million, in my opinion. I agree. To bring D-Hop back, you got to pay the 3 million for nothing and then also give him a contract. It's like, wouldn't you have just done that 2 weeks ago?
Right.
I'm confused as to why that wouldn't be done. What's up, Jason? Everyone go show some love to Jason, man. Great guy to follow with the draft, Huddle It Up Films, always posting highlights and does a ton of great draft work too, man. Appreciate you coming through.
What's up, Jason?
But
Tylan, he got signed by the Jets, did he?
I have not seen that. Could have just happened, maybe. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
I am checking on it though. Yeah. 2-year, $2.25 million deal. Why is that not? Did that just happen? Why has no one talked about that? Like this is like, oh, it's fake. Oh, Jason's saying it's fake. I don't know. I was gonna say I ain't seen anybody say that.
Yeah.
AI's telling me that he did when I Googled it, but I don't see the contract anywhere. So
Yeah,
I
he
have no
didn't.
idea. I don't think he actually did. I think that's like
that was based off of
rumors or something.
X,
Yeah.
that was an X post that AI pulled from.
Okay. Makes sense, actually. We gotta be careful with that, man.
Yeah,
AI is super useful tool. Like really is, man.
Yeah.
I actually like use AI and like it, and like it can speed things up. But man, do you have to be careful because it is just reading the internet. You know, and it's doing nothing else but reading the internet and thinking for you. So
Right.
like
Just compiles
there's
information.
a prime example of it finding a fake tweet and saying it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a Jets fan being sarcastic saying, "Oh, we finally signed somebody, our top free agent," you know. But yeah, I wouldn't mind bringing back Talon on a vet men to fill out that number 5, number 6. He's been solid every time he gets a chance to play.
He didn't get a lot of opportunity last year, did he? I mean, I feel like years prior he made way more like moments and had things happen, but last year it felt honestly I guess everybody's production besides Zay was just way down last year. If from a receiving standpoint, Henry obviously had a great year, but like Zay was the only receiver that really did well.
Yeah, our offense just didn't sustain drives, which meant less opportunities, less targets. We didn't sustain drives as well. We didn't stay on the field on third down as well. We didn't protect Lamar as well. It all went hand in hand. But I remember, I think it was in 2024, Tom Walls catches that out route on the sideline, breaks the tackle.
I was there. Color rush game versus the Bengals, 90 yards.
Right, you were there.
I was there. I've been in the Bengals last 2 years games, color rush games. Weirdly enough, it's just how it worked out. Well, this year was Thanksgiving. Terrible game to go to. But yeah, I remember that Wallace one vividly, man. Another Wallace took it up that same sideline way before that. Mike Wallace. I was also at that Ravens Steelers game. And he took 90 yards from Flacco down the same sideline, and it just like brought it back to me. I was like having flashbacks. Yeah. I was like, dude, I've seen like multiple guys break one down that same sideline. But
yeah. I remember like my first Ravens game. I was little, and my grandpa took me and my cousin. And I remember they were calling the names, and I was like down. I was pretty close to the field. And when they called Ray Lewis, dude, I thought my like 10-year-old eardrums were about to burst, dude. I was like literally like covering my ear. Like it was crazy when they called Ray out of there.
Bro, I feel like it used to get louder, but I could have just because I was a kid. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I agree. Like
more dramatic when you're little. Like
yeah. Everything felt more intense, man.
Yeah.
What's up, Coach? Appreciate you coming through. Everyone else, go check out Coach too, man. Sip the Tally. I know you guys are already probably aware of him and Jason, but both doing incredible draft coverage, like analyzing a ton of these prospects, breaking it down. They also just launched websites and everything. So go follow them on X and YouTube.
I got to go start watching some of Coach's film breakdowns on some of these.
Yeah, man. It's great. Every time I watch a video of Coaches, I'm learning something. I've told him that before, but like, I mean it. Like, and Jason, like because that's an area that like I need to grow in is like scouting or evaluating prospects from that type of lens. You know what I mean? And like, I definitely like trust whether like I can tell if a guy's like good or not or how they're going to fit and things like that, but I can't break it down like they can. So always like interested in that content, man. So appreciate you guys coming through.
Yep. Ryan, is there anyone else that is on the free agent market that you'd be interested in? For me, dude, I just, before you answer that, I was just to say I didn't even realize like Jalen Hawkins was out there.
Yeah, me neither. And we're going to sign another one or two of those guys that we probably aren't even mentioning or talking about. Yeah.
Like Jalen Hawkins to me was such a home run signing. Like I felt bad when we lost Ardarius. And then once I saw Jalen, I was like, all right, I'm not upset anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. I would not mind bringing in a Cushenberry for competition at center.
Okay.
What scares me, and I don't even know if he'd start. I don't even care, to be honest. Like I just want as much depth and competition on that offensive line as possible. and that's one name that has starter experience that we then could go draft because I think we could get him for a low cap hit. They're projecting $7 million here. The cap hit could be 3, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to cost a ton.
Yeah.
And it's such a security blanket here.
Yeah.
And not to even say he starts. Maybe the rookie that we draft from rounds 2 to 4 ends up starting. But it does scare me to go in with rookie center, rookie right guard, even if it is Emery. That's a rookie to me. Like, he hasn't started at all. That's like going with Voorhees or something. You just don't know, man. You know what I mean? So, like, I've liked what I've seen better. Love the college tape better. I'm very high on Emery, but like, it scares me to go so young and inexperienced again. And maybe that's just PTSD from how this has went recently. And I need to trust this new coaching staff more, but I would not mind bringing in someone like that or a vet edge. Kind of like we were talking about earlier. I think that there's a lot. Look at all these names still sitting out here. Son Reddick, Joey Bosa, you even Cam Jordan that we talked about earlier could come in for cheap. I know these guys aren't going to play a ton. Clowney, they're not going to get like, Mike Green or Hendrickson minutes, but that's not what the role is. The role is to come in and provide depth, experience, leadership. I wouldn't mind moves like that to strengthen the D-line, O-line before the draft. And yeah, potentially a receiver like we talked about earlier too, but those are probably where I'm kind of leaning. How about you though? What position group or what free agents are you locking in on here?
I think some of these dudes are going to be like a post-June guys that, the guys that kind of hang around out there or don't want to be fully involved in the off-season programs or OTAs or whatever, or training camp, like we saw with Van Noy and Clowney signings later in the off-season. But also, obviously, if the Ravens wait till after June 1st, it doesn't affect their compensatory pick formula. So I think
which we already ruined, by the way, with Hendrickson. We canceled out Linderbaum's third, so we're not getting like a high comp pick anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll still get maybe a couple later ones for some of the other guys we lost, right?
Always,
likely, and I don't know if we'll get anything for Stout or
Draymond, probably.
Draymond,
likely,
likely. Mitchell, maybe a 7th or something. I don't know, but. To me, one of those 4 edge rushers, or I guess I should say pass rush in general, because Calais Campbell's more of a
D line interior.
He does like a 3 tech or 5 tech, but Campbell, Bosa, Cam Jordan, and Cam Jordan's more of a 4-3 DN than he is like a 3-4, but I'm sure we could still find a role for him. For him to rush on the inside, maybe with Green and Hendrickson at the same time, could be exciting. He's just a big dude, kind of similar to Calais. He's not quite as big as Calais, but Cam Jordan's a big dude. I think he's like 280, 290. But yeah, Cam Jordan, Calais Campbell, Bosa, or Clowney. I want to see one of those dudes signed as just another veteran pass rusher. Even though like their production isn't off the charts anymore, they still do pressure the quarterback and affect the game.
Yeah, situational too. We don't need it every down.
Situational plus depth. Like dudes don't stay healthy all year. That's just reality, right? So, the idea to me of like Trey Hendrickson, Mike Green, Travis Jones, Clowney, and BK, like. Dude, if BK comes back with Trey Hendrickson, that could be so nasty, bro.
I'm optimistic still. Haven't had anything sway the optimism, especially the workout video. I don't know if you saw that, but he looked good.
He did. And now some trade guys I'd still be interested in. If the Jaguars are serious about trading Brian Thomas Jr.,
they said they weren't.
They weren't.
Yeah, like all the Schefter actually put it out, so I know the buzz was getting big. Schefter put out, it was a few days ago, but he said that the Jags basically weren't ever shopping him. It was just Twitter buzz. They could have been though, but like I don't think anything's happening is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that didn't make sense to me.
No, me neither. Like hell yeah, go get him.
He had like 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards, 1,200 yards as a rookie, and he's like 6'3", runs a 4.3, and just because he had a little bit of a down year, his second year, I guess because Parker Washington emerged, they traded for Jacoby Myers. But they also lost Christian Kirk. So, yeah. I don't know. Any other trade guys you'd be interested in?
Trade.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention Posick. He'd be interesting as well, just because
Free
proven
agent.
center. He's
Yeah.
30. He's just a
Probably
middle of the pack
cheaper.
average center. He's just going to provide you a floor.
Yeah, and that's what I'm asking for from the O-line right now, because there's no one left to like be a home run. I guess there are some guards. We were talking about Wyatt Teller a while ago. He's still sitting out there.
Yeah.
Zeitler's still there. I mean, there's vets still out there. Nobody's gonna drastically move the needle. Neither did Simpson, though. You know what I mean? And I just really want to get another player of that level that has experience. And then if the rookie wins, phenomenal. We got great backups. If they win and the rookies need another year, phenomenal. We got an option. Like we're covered. But just going rookie or young could work out. Just scares me though. And because these last 2 years, it hasn't worked out. And well, yeah, we'll see, man. I still think that there's a ton of free agency to play out. Not that we're going to sign a boatload of guys, but probably at least 2 more. It just might not be expensive or like huge names, but like we're definitely going to have another like Jalen Hawkins type signing where we're like, whoa, like, let me look into this guy. I wasn't really like, he wasn't on the radar. Nobody's been talking about this that much. And then you end up liking it. You know what I mean? Because like they're scouting the whole league, watching everybody. So you could see people that maybe just aren't, their value isn't high yet. And you're kind of buying low. And if Jalen Hawkins performs well, his next contract is going to be probably triple what that was.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. We'll probably grab a couple more guys that are like, under the radar, nice impact. But I'm excited. The Ravens still have a little money to work with for sure.
Yeah.
We talked about it before we went live, but do you want to mention that real quick before we hop off?
Yeah, so yesterday, Brian McFarland put out that they were around 45.8 with the Awuzie deals, and then doing the math of these new cap hits, we're down to about 26.5, give or take $1 million. We haven't signed, or the cap numbers haven't came out for Jovan Gwynn. I would imagine that's a minimum just because he hasn't played a lot. But I don't know. You know what I mean? So give or take $1 million, but we should be sitting around 26, 27 million in cap space. Still got the draft picks to sign. Still have a few avenues, I guess, to clear money if they wanted to rework a contract, whether that be Roquan. But the problem is they just paid him the bonus and stuff. And I do think the Ravens are not kicking the can as far as they have been recently. Like they're not just continuing to do that. Now they did do that with Lamar's restructure. They added a void year. I can actually pull that up too. They added a void year and his cap hit's crazy now next year. So something's got to shake with the Lamar deal.
Yeah.
I got it up here. So I think that is maybe why they're not kicking the can down the road, because look at next year's cap hit, 2027, 84.3 million. And then look at the cap hit in 28 when he's not even on the team, 42.4 when he's a free agent. So we've restructured and dumped his contract into these void years because we didn't extend him. We could still extend him, brighten up the future a little bit. It does increase his current cap hit this year, though. So we could still do that. I'm not saying that we're not extending Lamar, but if we do wait until next year, I think the Ravens have stopped restructuring as much to stop kicking the can down the road until we figure out what we're doing with this Lamar deal, because you can't just keep kicking the can down the road. As you can see in 27 and 28, that's not a good picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm praying a Lamar extension gets done to clear it up, to clear the future up, to have him here for many years to come. Because it gets tight after next year. And I do believe that's why we're not clearing like a Roquan, right? You could restructure Roquan and add void years right now and clear a good amount of money. Or after June 1st, you could clear a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've done that because they don't want to keep kicking the can down the road because the future cap situation is already a little ugly.
Yeah, dude. I think, I was talking to you about this before, but I don't think Marlon plays on his current cap hit, right?
Which is like
Marlon's at
26
26,
million.
and I know, like you said, they did pay him the bonus, but they could still save 19 million by doing a post June 1st cut.
Yep. Yeah.
And Marlon's production and performance, I don't think grants a $26 million hit, bro. So I
Yeah.
wonder if
This is,
if they do a revised deal where they add incentives in and
he'd
stuff
have to
like
take a
that.
pay cut for that. He'd have
Yeah,
to actually agree to the pay cut because simple restructures, you don't always need the player, like what they just did
right,
with Lamar, that was a clause in his contract. So they didn't need Lamar to there was no they're not negotiating like, hey, this is how much the restructure should be. It was a clause already in the contract. They already restructured Marlins. If you look next year, we have 12 million in dead cap just for Marlin. And
yeah,
then 3 million the following year, 3 million the following year. He does have a crazy high cap hit this year that they haven't revised as far as anyone knows. I agree. I think ideally for the team, he takes a small, kind of like Ronnie did a few years ago. He takes a pay cut, and it's an incentive-based contract to actually earn more than you were going to make if you ball out, if you make the Pro Bowl, if we go to the playoffs, like whatever they agree on, you know what I mean? But you do need him to agree to that, though. I don't think you could just restructure it and like have it all incentive-based like that. You would need the player to be on board with that. And if you
yeah,
restructured it again, to my point that I was just making, you're kicking the can down the road again, and you're just making these other future years that are already kind of ugly, you make them worse.
yeah. But it still may be in the best interest for the player to agree on the pay cut because they could say, "Hey, if you don't, we're just going to cut you," and your market on the free agent market's still going to pay you less. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't
But
know. I do think work needs to be done there. I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
seems
Something.
like it's high.
It is
Maybe,
high.
maybe they put
Roquan
it
is
up, but
32,
yeah,
but no restructures, like no dead money on Roquan's. They haven't restructured it. So Marlins is already messy. Lamar's deal's messy now. There's some deals that they really went void year heavy on. And the consequence to the void years is what I was just talking about with DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like
yeah,
when we didn't sign DeAndre, or everybody's been talking about DeAndre coming back, but like this is the consequence of a void year. We have a $3 million dead money hit this year because we added a void year to keep last year's cap hit low. So like whenever you have a low cap hit now, you pay for it in the future, which
right.
can be fine in some scenarios. In other scenarios with Marlin and Lamar and all these starting to stack up, it muddies the future a little bit. So we got to figure something out.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah,
think that's why they might not be doing as many restructures this offseason. I think they had cap from Lamar's restructure. They were planning to restructure or extend Lamar regardless. We knew that all offseason. So they did that. They restructured it. And I don't think they're being as aggressive restructuring Roquan's or Marlins because they're like, oh gosh, like we've already kicked the can down the road quite a bit here. Like maybe we just keep them this year and we can get out of it. We could get out of Roquan's cleanly next year, like with not consequence. Maybe that's the strategy. Stop pushing the
yeah,
can down the road quite as much, relieve a little bit of the future problems, or
yeah. I could see
they
that.
might see a great opportunity this year to continue to go all in and they restructure some of those contracts, clear more money, go make a big move. Anything's on the table.
Yeah. Yep.
But where we
Regardless,
stand.
we know the Ravens aren't done. They're probably going to add another vet receiver, maybe another veteran offensive lineman. Eric DeCosta actually said that they do plan on adding some more offensive linemen, some more guys here upcoming in the future. But
I think he specifically said that at center because
yeah,
he said free agency and draft.
yeah,
So that's kind of why I've been like holding out for a Cushionberry. Not that I'm like over the moon about it, but I would love that as like a floor option, and then you go hit the draft. But yeah, like you said, man, I think a few moves are coming still. Just
yeah.
don't know how big.
Right. Yep. Maybe Eric DeCosta's got something up his sleeve. We don't know, man. Just the fact that they were willing to give up 2 first-round picks tells me they're all in. So they're going to push that salary cap to the absolute max. They're probably going to be exploring trade options. We might see some fireworks on draft night, dude. We don't know. So, but it's exciting. We know the Ravens are all in. They're pursuing a Super Bowl. And here we go. It's exciting. Draft is right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm pumped for that, man. Now we got our picks back. We're gonna have to
Maybe,
do more mocks on here.
I know, dude. Maybe next Monday we'll
draft
a little bit more, do some mocks.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, guys, appreciate you so much for coming through. Hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your night and week, and we'll see you guys next Monday.